Good morning, one and all, and once again, welcome back to the channel. This is going to be part number 5 on my EMR on EC2 playlist for beginners. First part, we learned about how to submit a very simple PySpark job. Second part, we learned about how you can submit an Iceberg job to EMR as a step. Third part, we covered about EMR bootstrapping. And then the fourth part, we covered how to orchestrate your EMR PySpark job using step function. This is part 5, and now I would like to cover Hive. In this video, we are going to create a sample DynamoDB table. We're going to create an EMR cluster with Spark and Hive. And then I'm going to create an external table on Hive so that we can read data from DynamoDB. And at the end, I'm also going to show you how to submit a Hive job through Boto3 client, right, in Python. So I hope you're excited. And as usual, all materials are there in my GitHub section. Again, you can see all the lab materials, lab 1, description, video links, and the code resources is there. So this is going to be lab number 5. All right, step number 1, we need a DynamoDB table to play with. So I'm going to head over to my computer and open up terminal. Hopefully the font size is visible, right? And now I will paste this one in. This will create a table called user, right, on my AWS account. And now I will insert some mock data into it. So I'm going to copy this. And the data has been inserted. Let's come to DynamoDB table. Here you can see a table called user. And then I can see some mock data into this. So step 1, go ahead, create a DynamoDB table, insert some mock data, and now we'll proceed to step number 2. All right, step number 2 is we need to create an EMR cluster with Spark and Hive, and I will show you that. Again, same thing. All these labs we have this shell file, right? So we're gonna create an EMR cluster. Again, we are only gonna use one master node, but again, in a production environment, you will have a master node, a core node, and a task node, right? But to keep our cost minimum, we're just gonna have one master node, and that's gonna be a spot instance because we're gonna pay. It's gonna be like 60 to 70% cheaper, right? Now, as you can see over here in this particular EMR create cluster, we are specifying name Hadoop, Hive, and Spark, which means I want to use Spark, Hadoop, and Hive, right? And now we're going to create this cluster, right? Very simple. So I'm going to say chmod plus x / create. This will make sure that the permission is there. And now I'm going to create the cluster. So I'm going to say / create cluster. As you can see, the cluster name starts with DU7Q1, and if I head over to my EMR, starting state, right? So here you can see DU7Q1. So once the cluster is in the waiting state, meaning the cluster is ready to accept your commands, I'm going to show you the next particular step. So I'm going to pause the video right here. So meanwhile the cluster is being created, we can take a look at the Hive external tables that we're gonna create, right? So let's do that part meanwhile. Simple, right? We're gonna create a database called HiveDB. This is gonna be in the Glue Hive metastore. And once this is done, we're gonna use that particular database in Glue or Hive database, however you like to call. And then here, very simple, right? We're going to create an external table called user_hive. This is going to be a table which will be cataloged inside Glue. These are the columns. These are the columns which are there in my DynamoDB. Yeah, right? I'm giving it my DynamoDB table name, and I'm providing my column mapping. User ID, name, email, etc. Right? So we are creating this external table, right? And once the table is created, we are simply reading data, like select everything from this particular table. Then we create a sample Parquet table called user Parquet. So we're gonna insert data from our user Hive into user Parquet, and then bunch of aggregations, analytics, some basic aggregations, right? So hopefully it made sense, right? The important thing that you wanna note is, okay, this is the table that we're gonna use to create an external table for DynamoDB. And this table right here is created for storing Parquet data. And then we're going to insert data from our Hive tables into our Parquet tables, right? And then we do some basic aggregations, right? So that's about it, right? Now what we need to do is, let me see my command. Where is that? Here. Now, locally that file is called analytics.sql. We're going to copy that into S3. So this is the path. So I'm going to use AWS S3 CP, path to my local SQL file, and I'm going to copy that on S3. Right? Because you have to submit this job later on, right? So I'm going to open up new terminal. as you can see uploaded, right? So if I head over to, do I have my S3 open up here? Okay, I'm just gonna open it up quickly. So here you can see that particular file has been copied on S3. So now let's see if our EMR cluster is ready or not. So I'm gonna refresh this. Looks like the cluster is still in the starting state. So I'm just gonna wait, and then once the cluster says waiting, I will show you the next step. So I'm pausing the video right here. All right, looks like the cluster is in the waiting state. As you can see, perfect, right? So now we're gonna submit this particular job, right? So, and how you do that is, again, I have a submit job.py, and I'll show you how easy it is. So over here you see the cluster ID. So what we need to do is we have to paste the cluster ID. So my cluster ID is this one now. So I'm gonna paste this one here, right? And then this is the job path which sits on S3, right? My Hive job, and the step name is gonna be Hive job demo, right? So what this does, it submits a Hive job, as you can see, through a step, Hive -f and the job path, right? It submits the job, right? And once the job is submitted, we get a step ID. And then basically on my console, I'm simply, polling for status, is the job complete, succeeded, or running, right? That's about it, right? So now allow me to run this particular job, copy. And before that, I want to show you, if I go here, go to step, I don't have any step over here. And if I also go to glue database, my glue database, where is that? Let me see. If not, I can just open it up. That's completely fine. AWS glue, and go to database. I do not have a database called HiveDB, right? So now let's submit this. So I'm gonna say Python 3, and here you can see now the job is in the pending state. It's polling for the status. But if I go to my EMR at this point, and the step, I refresh, here you can see that step has been submitted. And if I probably am able to expand this, here you can see Hive -f and the path to that SQL file. So now again, this job is in the pending state, so it usually takes a couple of minutes, right? Once the job is running or completed, I will show you the logs, and we'll talk about the next steps after that. So again, I am simply pausing the video right here. We have submitted the job at this point. The job has been successful, as you can see. If I refresh here, job has been completed. I have the logs. If I do std out, here you can see, the data from DynamoDB, user 1, user 2, there are 4 users, right? And now if I go to my glue, here you can see HiveDB, right? Makes sense. Click here. I can see both the tables, right? And this Parquet tables is on S3, right? And the Parquet tables, I can also query that now through Athena. So if I come here, preview table, and I can see my data over here. So I hope you have enjoyed. I hope you have enjoyed this particular lab. If you have any questions, do let me know your question in the comment. And as usual, the resources, exercise materials are there on the GitHub. So I encourage, take some time out and try these labs out. And the most important, once you're done with all these labs, very important, do not leave this to waiting. Simply come here, click on terminate. That's it. So that way you're not going to incur any further cost, right? Again, the best way to learn anything is to try out everything. Try these labs out. Resources are there, code is given. So all you got to do is try these labs out. So one more note, you can also orchestrate these jobs through step functions. In my part number 4, I showed you how to do for PySpark job. But again, it is similar. Instead of Spark submit, we're using Hive -f and the path, right? So it's similar, right? It's nothing like completely different, right? The process is similar, right? So I hope you have enjoyed. I hope you enjoyed this lab, and make sure to terminate all the resources after that. With that being said, keep smiling, keep programming, and I will see you in the upcoming next video.